and you're going to save 16 1/3 years. Now here's the plan. Now our current month is what we want you to pay attention to, and that's the month of April. For the month of April, what we want you to do is deposit your paychecks into your equity line or your personal line of credit or your savings account. We're going to ask you to do that every single month. From your equity line or savings account or personal line of credit, we want you to pay your regular house payment of $1,450, plus we want you to make an additional principal payment of $5,142.50, and do that on the 11th of the month. From your equity line account or savings account or personal line of credit, we want you to pay off your credit card balance of $1,500 and do that on the 8th of the month. Now we want to give you an idea of what we have in mind for additional principal payments on your mortgage for the next 12 months. We're tentatively planning to make an additional principal payment during the month of June. A total payment of $3,100 roughly, so about a $1,500 additional principal payment. Not nearly as large as this first one that we're asking you to make. We have another one scheduled for September, possibly another one in December. So if we followed this plan exactly for the next 12 months, the balance on your mortgage would be $185,318.94. You would have paid $11,491.44 in interest and $14,000 in change toward the principal. Now we realize there's probably not the best chance that we're going to follow this plan exactly, because even though your income may not fluctuate very much, your expenses are going to change from month to month. And so we need to allow for that. So the key thing that we want you to do at this point is we want you to follow the current month as closely as you can. If you can't follow it exactly, that's just fine. We'll make an adjustment, and I'll show you how that's done in just a minute. But follow the current month as closely as you can. And then we want you to come back next month, the first part of the month, maybe the first few days of the month, the 1st through the 5th or something like that. Log back into your account, and all of this information is still going to be here. But then what we want you to do is to click on this month and give us a monthly update. Tell us what actually took place last month. So we ask you to send some money over to your mortgage company. It was your regular house payment plus an additional $5,000 or so, something like that. Let's say for whatever reason you sent over a total of $5,200. Now that's not exactly what we ask you to send over, but that's just fine. Your insurance is still $50 a month, and your taxes on your house payment is still $200 a month, so you don't need to make an adjustment there. How much were your monthly expenses last month? Last month they were $3,000. Let's say this month they were $3,100. What's your current credit card balance? Let's say that's $750. Did your income change? You told us last month that it was $5,100. If it changed, click on Change and tell us what the correct amount is. If it didn't, then you don't need to do anything with the income. And if you received a bill for the interest charge on your equity line account, how much was that? And we'll say it was $40. And now we're going to ask you to click Update. What we're going to do is we're going to regenerate the plan. We're going to make some adjustments based on the additional information that we've received from you. We may speed up the payoff of the mortgage. We may slow down the payoff of the mortgage. In this case, we've slowed down the payoff of the mortgage just slightly because your expenses increased just a little bit. But the good news is, so far, by following this plan, you've saved $18,843.29 compared to paying your mortgage as it's currently written. $18,000, almost $19,000. Now we have, and you still have $111,701.56 worth of savings that you still haven't achieved. So if you continue with the program, you still have another $111,000 worth of savings. You now have a new current month, which is the month of May. And once again, we ask you to deposit your paychecks into your HELOC or your personal line of credit or your savings account. Now, during the month of May, we only want you to make just your regular house payment of $14.50 on the 11th of the month. We want you to pay the interest on the equity line, and this is all coming out of your equity line account or your HELOC or your savings account. But we want you to pay the $40 for the interest on the 15th of the month and pay off your credit card of $750 on the 8th of the month. Now notice we've made some changes in our predicted additional principal payments for the next few months. So last month we were planning on paying a little over $3,000 total in the coming months as additional principal payments. Now we've backed that off just a little bit. Because your monthly expenses increased a little bit, it was really only $100. But keep in mind, we only have 2 months worth of information from you. We want to make sure that we don't get you overextended. So we're going to be a little bit careful, and we're going to slow down the payoff of your mortgage until we see your expense information for a couple of more months. Now, we could very easily increase the speed of the payoff of your mortgage if your expenses decrease a little bit. So it's constantly changing depending on your financial situation. We're not asking you to follow a 10 or 12 or 14-year budget. What we're doing is we're changing the program to fit your spending habits and your changing financial situation. And all we ask is that you go in once a month toward the first of the month and do your monthly update. Give us accurate information, and we'll give you an accurate payoff plan. Now, one other thing you can take a look at is if you're curious about your interest charges in the future. We've developed a little tracking device here where you can see how much interest you'd be paying 3 years down the road. Using our program, you'll pay a little over $32,000 in interest in the first 3 years versus $34,500 if you're not using our program. At 5 years, then there's quite a bit more of a difference. $50,500 using our program versus $56,600 if you're not using our program. And when you start to get out farther at 10 years, $83,000, $83,600 using our program, you would have paid $107,000, almost $108,000. And then keep in mind is that if you're not using our program, you're going to continue to make mortgage payments for 28.42 more years. With our program, it stops at 14 and a quarter years. So there's quite a bit of difference and quite a savings difference between using our program or paying your loan as agreed. Okay, I hope that helps you out, and thank you very much for watching.